What do you see your role as? Do you see it simply? Are you documenting information? Are you warning? What do you see is your function? What is your intention?
I try to bring clarity to people because you have this enormous flooding of information and misinformation and fake news and even true news, but just too much. Then to make it very clear to people what are the most important challenges, what are the most important questions. The most important things today in the world, you have three big challenges. It's nuclear war, it's climate change, and it's technological disruption.
And what is most current political discourse concerned with?
Not with any of them.
The superficial conversations that take place in the public sphere are and have always been, to a degree, a distraction from the true machinations of power.
Distraction is the key concept. It's a distraction. And like all distractions really work by exploiting the weaknesses of our mind. To attract people's attention, you need to press certain buttons, like the fear button or the hatred button or the greed button. But you can do that quite easily and distract people from the far more important things. There is huge depth in a human being, but if you look at most of the decisions humans make, certainly in the political sphere, it's all in the shallows.
How do you mean?
When you make a decision, an important decision in life, people often don't stop to really try and understand, why do I choose this?
Yes.
Very often you miss the fact that this desire has been shaped whether by corporate advertisement or by political propaganda or by religious mythology, and the naive belief that whatever pops up in my mind, this is just, an expression of my authentic free will, is very, very dangerous, because this is what makes us so easy to manipulate.
How do we as individuals begin to acquire a different perspective on what you suggest is deep programming that exploits biochemical tendencies?
There are many ways to really start exploring yourself, ranging from different techniques of meditation to therapy to art to sports. But the key thing is, first of all, to have the inclination, the curiosity to start digging, start exploring.
Given the technological disruption that you describe, is it time for human beings to begin looking at roles we can have that extend beyond the contribution we may make to the economy, i.e. as workers?
If we can cheaply and easily feed and clothe and support people based on the work of machines and computers and algorithms, this can be a wonderful opportunity for people to have much more time and energy to explore and develop themselves, not as cogs in an industrial production line, but as human beings.
In fascism, isn't there a sense that there is an earnest belief that the included group are valuable?
And after the Second World War, it was a central theme in every education system in the West to warn people about fascism. But I think we didn't do a good enough job because we presented fascism as a kind of monster. And we vilified, we didn't explain what was attractive about it. And what was attractive about fascism is that it told people, if you belong to the group, to the right group, you are the most important thing in the world. You are the most beautiful thing in the world. And the thing is, the dark side is very seductive because for the people in it, it's very beautiful.
Yes.
Again, you look in the mirror, you see the most beautiful thing in the world. This is something that, traditional Christian art understood much better than modern science fiction.
You mean that the devil would be beautiful?
The devil is beautiful. Otherwise, who would be tempted? So now we have an entire generation that grew up with the idea of fascism is the ugliest thing in the world. And then when they start to adopt fascist ideas and they look in the mirror, what they see is not a monster. What they see is something very beautiful. And then they reach the conclusion, we can't be fascist.
To return for a moment to the optimistic perspective, if you can identify the powerful and you have a vision of a society that could be differently organized, This, for me, is 2 ingredients.
That's a big if. I mean, if you look today at the world, what strikes me most is that nobody, as far as I can tell, nobody in either the left or the right has any serious, meaningful vision for where humanity will be in 2050.
If one way of changing the way that power operates is to dismantle these structures, but as you have just pointed out, the danger is that the thing that replaces it
is much worse. I mean, if you look again at a place like Iraq, then you would start thinking, actually, there are some good things about nationalism.
When you talk about the scale, the global scale, it sometimes seems inconceivable that change of this nature could happen.
If you look at what we already covered, I mean, 10,000 years ago, people were loyal to a group of 100 people they knew intimately. You were loyal to your friends and families in a small clan of 100 people. Now people can feel loyal to 100 million strangers. The road from feeling loyalty to 100 relatives and friends, all the way to feeling loyal to 100 million strangers, this is a very, very long road, and we've already covered it. Now, the road from feeling loyal to 100 million strangers to feeling loyal to 8 billion strangers, this is a much, much shorter road. It's certainly psychologically, it's much easier. So you have these huge amount of strangers you don't know here, and this huge amount of strangers you don't know there. 100 million, 8 billion, people don't think well in large numbers. It's the same. So it's not easy, but I think we have already covered most of the road towards this kind of global loyalty.
Thanks very much, Yuval. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for watching this podcast and going all the way to the end of it. Would you so kind as to click the bell, it might not be there, but over there, and subscribing so that we can infiltrate your serenity and peace of mind with jangling bells and buzzes. Thank you.